Something that I often see at internet sites, and it sometimes happens even at our sites, although we take quick action on it, is a member will come in and ask, is anyone else experiencing the symptom of, and anything can be after that list. And you got to point out, when you're dealing with a site where there's hundreds of people or thousands of people, and you put up a post, is anybody else experiencing or did somebody else experience a specific symptom? You better bet that you're going to find people who experience those symptoms. Now, sometimes the symptoms that both parties are having are, quitting smoking effects. Sometimes. But sometimes the reaction that one person did have was a quitting smoking effect, but the person who's now writing and saying that they're having the specific symptom and they want to know if someone else had it too, it's not from their quitting smoking. It's totally independent. The example that I use, a simple one, is where somebody will be having chest pains, their second or third day of a quit or their fourth or fifth day of the quit, and sometimes even like 2 or 3 weeks into their quit, they'll get a chest pain or a tingling sensation in their arm, symptoms of a heart attack. And they'll go onto a site and they'll say, hey, did anybody else have this symptom, shortly after they quit smoking? And then there's a member who, when they had quit smoking, they slipped on their arm one night, and when they woke up, oh man, they had a tingling kind of feeling in their arm, and they had maybe some other, pain. And they'll remember, oh, I had that. They won't happen to mention it. They slept on their arm that given night that they had it, but they'll say it. Well, now what you've got is a case of where the person who is currently having a symptom not being caused by the fact that they quit smoking, reading that and thinking, oh, good. I was a little bit worried there. Maybe I should have gone to a doctor. And they won't go. That is a reason that we have a rule at our site that if anybody puts up, a request like that, is this a symptom, and somebody else responds to it, that other person basically is giving the medical advice. And they're basing it on erroneous information. They're basing on what happened to them in a specific case, and this other person wasn't having that case. Now, I'll assure you, the person who was giving the advice was thinking, gosh, this person must be nervous about this symptom, and they're going to do that person a favor and just help alleviate that fear. You did not do that person a favor by alleviating that fear. What you did was you had a person put off seeking help for a symptom that may very well be necessary to save their life. Again, coming into a string like that, it's a mistake for the person to ask, is anybody else experiencing the symptom? Because again, when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people, yes, people are going to experience the exact symptom. But it's wrong for the person to have done it, but it's a bigger problem when the person responds to it. And again, responds with anything other than, this is a symptom that could be indicative of a problem. If you're worried and you're having the symptom, get it checked out. If the doctor, checks you out and says, no, there's nothing wrong, yeah, then you can write it off to not smoking. But don't leave out that step of getting professionally assessed when there's symptoms. Now again, at our site, we have the rule in place. If we see it, we pull the post. If a member keeps on thinking like, this is wrong that we're doing this, we're going to just keep giving the advice, we'll remove the member. It's not worth the risk to the individual. They're not only putting the person who's writing the question at risk, they're putting up everybody who's reading it, who may have a symptom somewhere down the line. And again, life goes on after you quit smoking. Things can go wrong, and you should never be writing off every symptom and every reaction to the fact that, you just quit smoking a few days ago, a few weeks ago. There's people who could probably do this for months and years, write it off to, oh, they just quit smoking, that's why it happened. Life goes on. Things can happen. And if there's symptoms going on, things that are troubling enough kind of symptoms that would have always sent you to getting assessed in the past, you still need to get assessed now. do not write off symptoms to quitting smoking if they're, again, symptoms that can be serious. And sometimes we're not even talking about just serious symptoms. Sometimes it's, and we've seen this at the board numerous times, where somebody will talk about the coughing and that just doesn't let up. Well, yeah, quitting smoking can cause the coughing. It can, the cilia regeneration. But also, people get infections that cause coughing. And we've seen this happen a few times where we'll say, yes, the cilia regeneration can do this. But if this is something that's really going on and just doesn't feel right, and if it's a kind of intensity or other symptoms going with it, but if it's a kind of intensity that would have had you a little concerned before, to go get checked out. And there were so many times when people finally took that, lesson and got checked out and found out they had infections, bacterial infections in their lungs that were never going to go away. They were going to get progressively worse the longer they waited. Because again, they wrote it off to quitting smoking when they actually had symptoms of what were pneumonia at times, and there were some other conditions too, but that needed medical intervention, that needed treatment. And again, while quitting smoking can cause symptoms like that, other things can too, and you don't know which one it is. And when somebody else is writing it, you really don't know which one it is. As an observer who may have had a similar symptom, you don't know what they're experiencing. So anyway, our rules make it very clear. Don't do it. Do not ask for the advice, and do not give the advice online. If it does, understand you're breaking rules that'll probably get you kicked out of the site if, a repeated action. But also, if you're reading at other sites, again, this is one of those things, you got to read at other sites with a critical eye. They don't understand what they're dealing with in some cases like this. They don't understand the risk that they're putting the person in, trying to do them a favor. They are not doing them a favor. All right, that's it for this one. You will be healthier by quitting smoking, no question about it. You will. There'll be a lot of things that you will prevent over your life, but you don't prevent everything. And that's the important message here. If you do get other problems, they may need intervention. And it'll be good that you're not smoking, because often smoking interferes with interventions that can be done and makes you sicker longer. But by getting the help, you can get the problem treated, and then you can avoid having to deal with many other problems down the line by simply sticking to your personal commitment to never take another puff.